Now that we have some drums and percussion in our song, let's add some keyboard. I already have the keyboard track that I previously created, so I'll just double tap to bring that up. And the beauty of playing the GarageBand keyboard versus a real acoustic piano with a microphone on it is you're not locked into your performance with the GarageBand keyboard as you would be with a real piano. I can just play my part, and then later, if I decide I want a different instrument to play those parts, I can do that. I can fix bad timing issues. I can change complete notes. Let's take a look at how this works. I'm going to roll back to the beginning. And with the grand piano, I'm just going to play the verse of this song. So I'll tap record. All right, so that's one pass through the performance. Now, obviously I could go back and do a little bit better than that, but just to show you the amount of power you have over what you've played, let's leave it that way. We're going to go back into track view. So here you can see the MIDI region I just created. Now there were a couple of flubs in there. Now I think the first thing I want to do is I want to change the sound of this keyboard. The grand piano is okay, but let's try a different instrument for this. Let's go with the electric piano. And let's listen to that once. So the exact same performance, but now played through a different instrument. So obviously not the cleanest ending there, but let's see what we can do about that. Let's go back to track view. So now I want to edit this region. So I'm going to select it, tap it to bring up the menu, and tap edit. So what I'm seeing now are the MIDI regions that I've just written. These are all the notes that I've played, and they correspond to the notes that you see over here on the left. I can actually play that keyboard so I can hear what the notes are, but each one of these dashes that you see on the screen represent the notes that I've played. You can look at the notes, you can tap them to listen to them. You can see the corresponding key lights up there on the left-hand side. You can look at their horizontal position to see if I was ahead of the beat or behind the beat. You can see the second selection of notes here are syncopated, so they appear just a little bit before measure 3 starts. I was pretty good here on measure 4, everything lined up pretty well. Just move that back into place. Let's play this again and now look at the notes as the playhead goes by them. Okay, so I immediately see two problems here. This note here, where I played a G, should have been an F. That's very easy to fix. I just select it, drag it down 2 half steps for a whole step, and now it's an F. I can hear what that sounds like. So it's that easy to fix a flubbed note. Now again, I have some problems here at the very end. This is how it should have sounded. Now the problem here at the end is this note, which is currently an F, should have been an E. And I just have this little dangling note here that I accidentally tapped. So notice when you tap a note, you can just delete it. So I'm just going to get rid of that. In fact, I want to get rid of both of those notes. Now I could just do them one at a time, but I'm just going to hold down, and now I can drag a marquee around the notes I want to select. Now I can tap one of them, tap delete, and get rid of them both. So now I'm actually missing a note here. The great thing here is I can write in the notes that I didn't play. I'm going to tap the pencil icon here in the upper left-hand corner and drag it right. Now when I tap on the screen, I'll actually be drawing notes. So I've just placed a note down. It's on the E. Now I can position it where I want. Drag it over in line there, and I'll extend the end out to line up with the end of the other notes there. Let's hear how that sounds. I'm going to turn the pencil off. That's pretty much exactly what I wanted to do. Now you might have seen some other things pop up when I tap these notes. In addition to cut and copy, we also have velocity. Maybe you struck a note, but you didn't strike it as hard as you wanted, and it's not as prominent in the mix as you want. If you tap velocity, you get a little slider bar here so you can increase or decrease the velocity of the note. So if I wanted this to be a particularly prominent note, I could increase its velocity all the way to the right. So if we listen to that, it makes that note just a little bit louder. So I've shown you a couple ways here to repair a flub performance, but you can also use the editor for creative choices. For example, maybe this A here at the top, maybe I want to move that down an octave. So I could just simply grab it, drag it down to the low A. Right there. And of course I can go back and listen to that. So maybe for the second repetition of that, I just like having that A a little bit lower. Now, the one other problem I hear with this is my timing is not really that great. Sometimes I'm a little ahead of the beat for my taste, sometimes I'm a little behind. What we can do is quantize the performance, and that means to time shift our performance so it matches up more to the beat. I'm going to tap Done to close out the editor. And here with the keyboard track selected, I'm going to go to the mixer, and you see we have a quantization selection here. Here I can choose whether I want to line up the notes to quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, and so on. Now it is important to know which one of these to line them up to. Because I'm playing kind of a syncopated rhythm here, I probably don't want to choose the quarter note. Let's listen once and see what that sounds like. It's very straight now. So everything's falling exactly on the quarter note beat. That's kind of losing the groove that I was going for. So instead, let me just undo that. You can actually see the notes shift there. I'm going to go back, and this time I'll quantize to the eighth note. And let's listen to that. So that's the groove that I was going for. What I've done here is I've taken a pretty mediocre performance and made it sound a lot better, and I only had to actually perform it once. So I'm pretty happy with the verse the way it is now, so rather than having to play that again and having to re-edit a whole nother performance, I'm just going to select it, choose to copy it. Now I'm going to move my playhead to the beginning of section D, which is the next verse. So now I'll just double tap, choose paste, and now I have a copy of that region. Now, actually, I just noticed that my playhead was not quite on measure 18 there. Not a big deal. I'll just select the region, drag it into place, and all I have to do is fill in the chorus. But you can hear what this sounds like now. So we get through the chorus part, and my verse part comes right back in. And actually, I just noticed that I want the verse drum part to be there as well, so let's move that back. We'll end the chorus there. We'll copy that drum performance. Make sure I get my playhead right on measure 18 there, which I didn't quite take that back far enough. Let's go there. I'll paste it in. So it's not quite at the end here because that part was a little bit shorter, so let's just drag that all the way to the end. In fact, we'll do the same thing for the pasted in keyboard part, just to make sure we have that all. And here we go. So now I've built out a significant portion of my song using only one keyboard performance. I just played it once, not very well at that, but then I fixed it in the editor, then I copied it, pasted it, and now I have 2 complete verses. So that's really the beauty of working with the keyboard in GarageBand.